Franny, welcome. You're a couple of years out of university now and have been working in the game market development in Cricket Australia ever since. For many people, this is their dream organisation to work in. How were you able to find your way into it straight out of uni?
So I went to Deakin, and through Deakin I did a bunch of volunteering and networking through the Sports Studies Club at Deakin, as well as externally. And Joe Morrison, who's the, face of our alumni at Deakin, I met him a couple of times through networking events, and when he had a job pop up at Cricket Oz, he asked Deakin, so Katie Rowett at Deakin, who was my lecturer, who they would think would suit, a recent graduate, and I guess they both kind of combined and thought I was doing a good job and said, Fran would suit the job, and it kind of just fell into place. So that's pretty much how I got the job, through networking and through uni.
So how come the lecturers at Deakin University recommended you? Other than being academically strong, what sort of things do you do to try and build relationships with the staff there or make yourself well known?
Yeah, so I think it was important to volunteer time to give back to the uni. So at Deakin we have a sports studies club, which I kind of just jumped on board on the committee, and we helped organise networking events, as well as lunches and seminars and whatnot. And through that, because you had to talk to the uni lecturers to get them to buy into what we're trying to do, that's kind of how I met all the uni lecturers and put my name up and said, hey, we want your help, we want to do the seminar, can you help us advertise to all your students and things like that. And so kind of through that, I kind of built my name up to Katie and to Adam and to all our uni lecturers who kind of understood what we're trying to do. And through that, just built my name up, and it worked.
It takes time to build a resume, but when yours was relatively blank, how were you able to get your first internship?
So it was actually through the uni practicum, which is where you had to go do a placement at a sport organisation of some sort. And I put mine up for Cycling Victoria, and I got happily accepted, which was great. And that's kind of where it all started. And through that, that Cycling Victoria placement turned into a part-time job. Then it led me to Football Federation Victoria, which turned into a part-time job as well. And so it was all through the uni placement, as well as then the contacts that I made through cycling and through football, that then put me in other organisations. So a whole bunch of networking.
So what was the application process for your internship at Cycling Victoria?
So it wasn't too bad. I saw an ad up on, I think, Sports People. They said they wanted an intern for events and development role. That's kind of what I wanted to get into anyway. And so I kind of just put a resume together, put a cover letter, kind of emailed directly. So there was an email that said, I guess it was a HR email at Cycling, but I found out who the participation manager was, and kind of just emailed it straight to him, and it kind of went from there. So it was a cold email with my resume and cover letter, and it worked.
As a student, did you have people that you could turn to check in on yourself and see what they thought of how you were going or where your areas for improvement were?
Yes, so aside from the uni lecturers who were great, I met a whole bunch of networks through, uni events and other sport networking events. And from there, the people that I met, I made sure to keep in contact with them and catch up with them. And so I met a couple of folks from athletics, from Limelight Sports, and from, a whole bunch of different organisations. And I would catch up with them every couple of months for a coffee, buy them a coffee, obviously. And yeah, so those were the kinds of people that I would ask, how am I doing? What am I doing wrong? What am I doing right? And they were very open and honest. So I think that's kind of the people I look to, the networks I made, and people who were kind of starting at the industry, but also had a couple of years experience.
So what were some of the areas for improvement that you identified in yourself?
I think it was more showing that I've had on-hand experience. So as well as, as good as my resume looked, a lot of people had better experiences or better, resumes. And so it was important for me to, put my hand up to more on-the-day things, to prove that I have actually, done events, and I've done coordinating cycling, road safety issues and whatnot. And so a lot of the people said, just keep putting your hand up, keep volunteering your time, and you'll get there. And I think that's very important. Sure, it took a lot of my weekends, but eventually I made networks, volunteer heaps of my time, and then when I applied for things, they could see, yep, they've done this, X, Y, and Z.
Looking back at your first networking event, was this a daunting experience for you, or were there any nervous moments?
So my first networking event was, again, through uni. They had a couple of guest speakers come in, and I asked a whole bunch of my uni friends who wanted to go with me, and all of them said no. So I guess the first daunting thing was even trying to find someone to go with or going by myself, really. And so in the end, I did go by myself, and I got to hear a couple of awesome speakers. And then I guess the boundary that I had to overcome was actually trying to figure out how to talk to someone like that, or how do you just go up to someone and go, hey, how are you? I love your job, I love what you do. So it's kind of awkward, but eventually I kind of got the hang of it, and I guess the culture that they built was kind of safe for everyone to be embarrassed or be awkward, because everyone knows you're a uni student, it's the first time doing it, and so once I guess I got the hang of it, it was okay, but it was very daunting at the start for sure. Very nervous, couldn't even say my name sometimes, but it was all good in the end.
Looking back at Cricket Australia now, what does the game and market development department do, and what sort of jobs exist inside it?
So our main aim is pretty much to get as many people playing cricket as possible, which is what game and market development kind of means. So either expanding the game or expanding the market. So those are our two focuses. So for example, last year we had 1.4 million people play cricket, and our aim is to get that to 2.2 in about 5 years. And so within our department, there's about 4 groups. So there's one that's all about community, so we're trying to get more diversified cultural backgrounds playing, we're trying to get disability cricketers playing, as well as just general club cricketers. And then our other departments include our entry-level program, which is for kids 5 to 12, so there's about a team of 10 there, and then we've got our junior formats, which are again club cricket, and I guess overall we covered ages from 5 to 60 pretty much. And so we have a team of 30, and I guess our Cricket Australia team leads out to our field force, which is about 200 folks. And all our aim is to get as many people playing cricket as possible, and there's definitely heaps of opportunities for people to get involved in it.
Tell me more about your role specifically and what it looks like in season versus out of season.
So right now I'm looking after the school space, so I look after our Sporting Source program, and then I help with our other entry-level programs, which include the Mascots Challenge, which is a new program, as well as our other school-based activities. In season, which is I guess term 4 and 1, if that's what you call it, is where we try and get as many schools involved in cricket as possible, offer them opportunities to come on ground during game days, to participate in our school cups, and things like that. And so my day-to-day life in season is very crazy, just trying to organise a whole bunch of school clinics, trying to get our state staff to get to the schools, provide promotional material, organise payment and invoices and all those sorts of things. So there's a lot of admin work, but there's also a lot of, I guess, planning and strategic thinking and whatnot. And off season, it's pretty much the same thing. We're planning and reviewing our programs. How can we improve it? How do we get more kids playing? How do we get schools to, I guess, run cricket themselves instead of relying on us, which is, I guess, one of our big focuses. And I guess we want to get more schools involved. I guess that's kind of it.
When you first arrived at Cricket Australia, what were the first couple of months like, and how did you make sure you made a good impression on the business?
It was a tricky start to cricket. I was initially on a 3-day-a-week, 6-month contract, and I guess within the first 2 weeks, I guess they kind of thought I picked things up pretty quickly. I was willing to say yes to pretty much everything they wanted me to do, and I guess I was always asking the right questions. And from that, after 2 weeks, they kind of made it a full-time 6-month job. And in the 6 months, again, did the same thing, kept putting my hand up, kept asking questions. When I saw someone doing a project, I said, hey, can I get involved? Do you need some help? Whether it's just simple, I don't know, printing things out or helping organize the teams or lunches and whatnot. And I guess through that, they saw the value, I guess, in my work ethic and in what I can do. And the 6 months became a full-time gig and went into a different job. But yeah, overall, the first couple of weeks was always just saying yes. It was very long hours, but eventually it just became a permanent full-time thing. And now I've built my name up and my reputation, which is, I guess, good for me. But yeah.
You've done some work in the past with state organisations. Can you give us a snapshot of what it's like to work for a national organisation such as Cricket Australia?
It's very different. So obviously, I came from two state sporting organizations, so cycling and football, and it kind of blows my mind how much you have to think about in terms of national. So, for example, if we wanted to run a program for kids 5 to 12, in my mind it's like, oh sweet, you know, Victoria, we do this and it works. And then I'll get put up on it and be like, hey, but that doesn't work in Western Australia or in New South Wales or something like that. And it's just kind of a whole different mindset. And I don't think it's something I really thought about as a student or as a recent graduate. And so it's very different. You're going to have a wider scope in terms of everything you're thinking about, in terms of planning, in terms of figuring out how it best works. So it's very interesting. It's good, but it's very tricky because obviously not one method works for all the states or all the regions across Australia. So it's tricky, but it's good. Yeah, it gives you more responsibility, so why not?
Have you ever had days where you thought, I'm working too hard and not getting paid enough and I'd be better off pursuing a career in another industry elsewhere?
Oh, for sure. I think you don't necessarily work in sport if you're in it for the money. I think it's all about the passion and what I guess you enjoy doing. By far, you can go study accounting and work in, I don't know, KPM and you make much more money. But yeah, I think it comes right down to your passion and beliefs. And for me, the long hours are worth it just because I love coming to work. It's not a drag to wake up at 6 o'clock to come to work just because I enjoy it and the people around me are good. And I guess I truly believe in the meaning of sport and what it brings to people and the community you can get and the friendship and the benefits of sport. And so I think it's not really a drag to work 8 o'clock in the morning to 12 o'clock at night if it's what you love. And I think that's where I'm very lucky right now. And yeah, can't complain, but money's never been a thing for me. Doing it for the passion, so that's fine.
Finally, what have some of the highlights been for you working at Cricket Australia?
So we have this thing at Cricket Australia, it's called Rookie of the Year. And it's an award they give to, I guess, any new staff within the 12-month period. And I guess my team kind of stitched me up and I won the award, but I guess the highlight was during our end of season celebration. When I won the award, I had to go on stage and it was the first time meeting James Sutherland. And I was just on stage out of the blue. And he gave me a trophy and an envelope, which is the prize. And then I guess he kind of stitched me up by making me do a speech in front of all the staff. But that was kind of a highlight for me just because I guess it kind of validated all my work and my value to the company. And from then on, I got to meet many other people within CA. And I guess that was a good night out. We can say that they met the CEO at a party. But yeah, it was good fun. And I think there are many other highlights, getting to travel across Australia, getting to see a full MCG at Boxing Day. It's all still mind-blowing to me, and it's been nearly 2 years, but a lot of highlights.